Donald Trump finally admitted he would concede to Biden, despite massive fraud he claims took place in this year's rig. Trump told reporters on Thanksgiving that if Biden, who is due to be sworn in on January 20th, is certified the election winner by the Electoral College, he will leave the White House, but refused to say if he'd attend his asked at a press briefing Thursday if he would vacate the White House. He told reporters, "Sir, but you know that." But he added, "It's going to be a very hard thing to concede because we know there was massive fraud." It is the first time Trump has said publicly he is open to stepping down as president since the election. Trump slammed one Reuters journalist who interrupted him during today's tense briefing, saying, "I'm the President of the United States. Don't ever talk to the President that way." He said, "You're just a light. Don't talk to me that way. Don't talk to. I'm the President of the. Don't ever talk to the President that way." After reiterating his election fraud allegations, he admitted that time isn't on our side. 2 weeks before the Electoral College will meet to name a winner, he said if they elect Biden on December 14th, Biden's Electoral College lead is close to the same margin that Trump beat Hillary Clinton by in 2016 with 304 electoral votes to 227. He said if the college confirmed a Biden win, they made a mistake, because this election was He added, "Just so you understand, this election was a fraud. Biden is beating Obama in swing states, which are the states that mattered for purposes of the election," the president said. "So no, I can't say that I will concede at all. I think it's a possibility." But Trump later hit out at reports after his news conference, saying the real message was missed and reiterating his rigged election claims. And he tweeted, "I realized once again that the fake news media coordinates so that the real message of such a conference never gets." Primary point made was that the 2020 election was rigged, and that I won. Earlier, he had declined to say whether he would attend Biden's inauguration, claiming this election was it. Speaking about the presidential swearing-in, Trump said, "I don't want to say that yet. I mean, I know the answer. I'll be honest, I know the answer, but I just don't want to." Just before 11 a.m. ET, Trump tweeted, "Just saw the vote tabulations. There is no way Biden got 80 million votes. This was a 100% rigged election." Later, he told reporters, "We're using computer equipment that can be hacked." The president complained about we're like a third world country. We have machines that nobody knows what the hell. I mean, you take a look at all the mistakes they made. This election was a fraud. Just so you understand, this election was a fraud. If you look, just take a look anywhere on the internet. You will see many people where they're experimenting with this stupid machine. Wherever you send it a certain way, the votes go from Trump to Biden. He also said things have a long way to go. Despite polls closing 2 weeks ago, Biden won the election by more than 80 million votes to Trump's 73 million, with 306 electoral votes to Trump's 200. Despite the clear lead, Trump said it was wrong the incoming president was trying to pick a cabinet, despite both parties coordinating to get the Democratic. Mr. Trump announced he will be heading to Georgia after the holidays to rally supporters heading into 2 Senate runoff elections to decide which party controls this. Initially he said these would be taking place this weekend, with White House officials later clarifying he meant December. But the president said, "I think you're dealing with a very fraudulent system. I'm very worried. People are very disappointed that we were robbed," he added, despite Republican officials working hard to keep their loyal voter base energized ahead of the vote. During the briefing, the president also urged people not to let him take credit for the vaccines because the vaccines were me and I pushed people harder than they've ever been pushed before. And when asked if he would put himself forward for a formal candidacy in 2024, he said he didn't want to talk about 2020. Biden spent the holiday in the small seaside town of Rehoboth, Delaware, where he and his wife Jill had a vacation home with their daughter Ashley Biden and her husband Dr. Biden said his family typically holds a large gathering on the island of Nantucket off Massachusetts, but this year with just a small group around our dinner table. Trump often likes to celebrate holidays at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida but remained in the Washington area, spending part of the morning at his Trump National Golf Club in Virginia where he played a round of golf. But his administration called for people to gather despite fears of a Thanksgiving surge. In a White House Thanksgiving proclamation released on Wednesday, the president's annual note called for people to gather, but health officials throughout the U.S. have warned against celebrating with a large group or traveling this holiday season out of fears such gatherings could turn into super. Trump's proclamation read, "I encourage all Americans to gather, in homes and places of worship, to offer a prayer of thanks to God for our many blessings." An estimated 48 million people are expected to travel by car, along with 350,000 by train, between Thursday and Sunday, according to AAA. Says this is a 10% decline from last year. About 95% of counties throughout the country are seeing a largely uncontrollable spread of coronavirus, according to on Wednesday. The Supreme Court sided in a 5-4 ruling with religious groups over COVID restrictions put in place by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. These limited the number of people attending religious gatherings. The nation's top court ruled the restrictions violated the First Amendment. Trump on Thursday shared the news with a tweet, writing, "Happy Thanksgiving." The president was pictured golfing on Thursday at Trump National Golf Club in Virginia after these tweets were for the first 3 Thanksgivings of his presidency. Trump and First Lady Melania would travel to their Mar-a-Lago. As the pandemic pummels the country, they opted to stay at the White House after his election loss. According to data from the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, more than 1 million people flew in the U.S. on what that's less than the 2,624,250 who flew on the same day last year, but still proves that people are traveling for. This marks the highest number of travelers since the pandemic started this year. As of Thanksgiving morning, tens of millions of COVID-19 cases and over 268,000 virus-related deaths have been reported, and people across the country have been encouraged to stay home and celebrate Thanksgiving with just their household or immediate family. But millions of Americans have still traveled, whether by car or plane, to visit loved ones throughout the U.S. During his Thanksgiving remarks on Wednesday, Biden said, "We're at war with the virus." Biden said coronavirus brought us pain and loss and frustration. "It's divided us, angered us, set us against one another," he said. "I know the country's grown weary of the fight, but we need to remember, we're at war with the virus, not one another. I know that we can and will beat this virus," he said. "Life is going to return to normal. I believe this grim season of division is going to give way to a year of light and unity." On Thursday, Biden and his wife and the future First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, released an op-ed about how they're grateful for the American spirit. Meanwhile, health officials fear that gatherings across the states will contribute to an even bigger surge in COVID cases than the country's. Experts think Thanksgiving could be the mother of all superspreader events after the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warned the vast majority of reported COVID-19 infections. Former White House medical team advisor Dr. Jonathan Reiner warned that Thanksgiving could potentially be the mother of all superspreader events. People are leaving from every airport in the United States and carrying virus with them, he said, citing the Sturgis motorcycle rally in South Dakota this summer as the country battles this deadly second wave. The daily death toll on Wednesday surged to 2,284 in the USA, according to the COVID tracking project, the highest level since. It was the second day in a row that more than 2,000 Americans have died. Hospitalizations also reached single-day record of 89,954 with a 7-day average of 84,008. This disturbing news emerged after the CDC revealed that a whopping 53 million people had contracted the virus 2 months ago, just under 8 times the confirmed cases reported at the time. The agency had previously estimated that 1 of every 10 infections were being. Of the 53 million estimated infections, around 45 million were sick at some point while about 2.4 million patients were hospitalized.